Hello, everybody. This is John Midbow with Scalability Experts. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming to attend our webinar today titled The Future of Data Center Automation, Database as a Service. In addition, I want to thank Chris Cadieux, our Systems Management and Virtualization Practice Leader. Today, Chris will be presenting the SE solution for data center automation, as well as discuss how it can greatly improve how IT can provide service to business users, as well as keep companies in a perpetual state of consolidation and optimization. Later in the webinar, he'll be providing a live demonstration that showcases the Database as a Service Management Portal, as well as how to create a SQL Server database with it, how to connect to that database with SQL Server Management Studio, as well as many other features. We obviously do not have time to show the entire solution, just time doesn't allow for it. So if after the webinar you're intrigued, you're interested, send us an email to info@scalabilityexperts, and we can set up a private one-on-one showing where we can demo the full solution and talk about database as a service might look like to you. Now, without further ado, allow me to introduce Chris Cadieux.
Thanks, John. Welcome, everyone, to the future of data center automation. Today, we're talking about Database as a Service, or DBaaS. My name is Chris Cadieux. Let me give you a little bit of background about myself. I come from the consulting world. I've been through many components within the full system stack, including the hardware infrastructure, the operating system platforms, management software, and various application components, including web servers, middle tier, and other database servers, including Microsoft SQL Server. So what we're doing with Database as a Service is taking all of these different areas, and we're showing customers how to bring the most efficient components within all the different areas, and then combining them to provide a more efficient management of resources within your organization. But first, let's start with looking at what are the customer challenges that we're addressing. So first of all, we're looking at what are some of the improvements we can make for overburdened DBAs and IT managers. A lot of time is being spent managing resources that could otherwise be automated through some very simple algorithms or understanding of our environment. Database as a Service helps us enable the gathering of insight about our environment and then helping automate to be able to remove some of this burden. DBAs and IT also have a contention in how their environment should be managed. So their visions are very different about how to administer resources. We also see quite a bit of pressure to solve business problems and improve decision making. And what this means is our customers want to redirect the way that we're utilizing resources, human resources actually, and use our knowledge and expertise to be able to improve our business. Right now, what we're finding is that a lot of customers have an IT environment that most of the time spent is actually just upkeep on their resources. So if we can automate a lot of the different functionality that normally is managed by an IT administrator, we should be able to refocus these resources to start looking into business problems and improving the efficiency. Another issue that we find is this rapid sprawl of resources, and what this does is it creates a huge waste of our resources, right? Even after we have consolidation. So we may go through a process where we consolidate hundreds or even thousands of SQL servers, and then what happens is we find that a few months after performing those consolidations, the same type of activity occurs where we have a lot of different disparate either VM sprawl or database sprawl again back in the environment from our different application owners. So these things cause an unnecessary expenditure on different hardware, software, and services that have a large effect on our IT environments. And this is something that is usually caused by the excess resources in our environment not being utilized efficiently. So what we're doing is we're helping to improve on the vision of our IT expenditures. We're also helping improve where we allocate those resources, and then we're helping to improve our consumption by the end user. Okay, so these are how we're able to improve through a single vision in an IT environment. So what kind of impact do these problems have on customers? We find that there's four very simple ones that we're addressing with our product. The first one is we have a major overspending on different resources, and this is having a minimal impact on both the performance of the environment and the performance of those resources on the business. Second, our business users, our non-IT users, are not actually getting what they need to improve their business. Okay, they may be getting new features, new capabilities, but they're not actually able to solve some big, more industry-focused problems that they know exist. Third, we also have this IT environment that just keeps getting more and more out of control, and this is causing a lot of these problems, and primarily this is because we don't have a central vision, and with that vision a strategy and different tactics to be able to control or manage those resources. So these things cause a lot of stress in our organization, which when we go into organizations, we find that we actually have to do some mediation between our IT and our database groups. And when we go into those organizations, we're able to help reduce this stress temporarily. And now with our database as a service product, we're able to bridge those gaps and create a long-term solution for that type of stress. So what does the business want? With these problems and with this type of impact that those problems are having on the organization, what are we finding that customers really need? So number one, we want the public and or hybrid cloud functionality within our organization. So we want our customers want the ability to have what we see in products like Windows Azure, but we want those on-premise. Okay, that's number one. Number two, we need a rapid response to our business, meaning we need to be able to deploy resources very quickly or redeploy resources very quickly if we need to replace some type of application or upgrade our applications. We need this response to be very quick. We also need our environment to be able to expand or contract based on how our business, the ebbs and flow of our business. And so to be able to do this, we understand that we need to be able to measure, right? Because measurement is required to be able to make fixes to problems. And by measuring, we're able to meet certain SLAs. And if our customers don't have SLAs or service level agreements, we're actually going into our customers and helping them set those SLAs. And by implementing these metering and SLA components, we're able to show customers that they can implement a chargeback. So chargeback allows us to be able to enable an organization to identify areas where resources are being consumed, then redirect those resources as they see fit. So if one department in an organization is utilizing more than their actual impact on the business, and another business is starving for those resources, it lets us make an executive level decision to say, okay, let's reallocate these resources to the starving component within our business, or let's acquire new components and apply those to this area, this starved area, so that they can make a better impact within our business. And then also, we're finding that customers need consistent availability and disaster recovery. So database as a service helps them apply a single but multifaceted solution for both of these criteria. So our answer to this with database as a service we have quite a few different components that I want to talk about. Number one, we're able to provide self-service. So this is really giving you something like Windows Azure or any of the other public clouds. We give this to you in a box on premise. Okay, so this means that you have a custom version of what you see out in the wild right now for the different public cloud solutions. The best part about it is we go in and we help you automate based on your own best practices, and then we implement additional best practices that come from the industry for your organization. So Database as a Service really gives you this ability to implement self-service based on what you want, and it helps you automate deploying databases, database instances, and complete servers with database instances and additional databases on them. So we help you control those resources. Second, we provide platform analytics, and this is really the ability to compare different SLAs with your real-time and historical trends. So if we want to monitor storage to understand when is a good time for us to be able to make an upgrade of either technology or add more storage, we can do that with platform analytics. Now we do the same thing with database servers, with compute, and with our networking capacity, both for storage and regular Ethernet traffic. Third, we enable our public cloud to look good. This allows easy adoption by our users. So we've taken a framework that has already been built. It's very similar for users. It's easy to extend. There's APIs between different cloud platforms and management utilities. So our system gives you the aesthetic and easy manageability because it integrates via APIs with other applications. So Database as a Service gives you this platform which helps you know exactly when you need to buy things. It helps you understand your licensing and to stay in compliance with your licensing. It also helps you know when you may need to grow your environment. Okay, and again, we focus on the CPU, the IOPS, memory, and storage to understand how is our environment performing in relationship to the underlying resources and our consumption. Now, we're taking this a step further because not only are we measuring, but we're able to utilize our experience as our expertise in predictive analytics. So we're applying predictions to when things need to happen. And so we can help you automatically leverage certain features of SQL Server based on your growth and your expansion within your organization. Some other features that we include are the ability to improve our management of resources, okay, and give those automated features to business users. So based on how easily we expose different components within your infrastructure stack, we're able to give access to the different business users that need it. And they may not need access to create, but they might want to monitor, or they might want to understand their availability, and that's what we help them do. In fact, this system allows our business users to deploy applications very quickly. We've seen scenarios with our customers that we can improve the deployment from weeks into days of different database servers based on their own compliance and quality control requirements within their organization. So another couple areas that we're finding customers are having trouble with is justifying paying so much for VMware. So this is a tax that is unnecessary with our platform because we take advantage of licensing capabilities with Windows Server 2012, and we help you leverage the maximum capacity of your host with Hyper-V. By doing this, we remove your need for VMware completely and just build your platform on Windows which is also designed to support heterogeneous clients. Now, if you also want to include bare metal servers, where we want to implement instances of databases or applications on bare metal servers, we enable this through low-level management, BMC management. This reduces your need for third-party tools and other third-party hypervisors, and you get a huge cost savings from doing this virtualization strategy. So what does our database as a service look like? So this is the logical build that we come in and help you with. It's a process to implement a private cloud. It's something that we now are trying to help customers understand that it's actually better to focus on creating a hybrid cloud where your internal platform can communicate with external resources such as Windows Azure, or possibly even a third-party data center that you want to integrate with. So our system starts with, at the lower level, we build out our infrastructure. And it's designed to be private, meaning it takes your best practices, combines ours with yours, and we help translate your needs into the automated functionality of this system. We provide you support for mixed environments, including Xen, VMware, and Windows Server, all of which are automated through our underlying scripts that are exposed through web forms. Okay, and we also can customize your deployment and configuration scenarios. Then on top of that, we build the management with System Center 2012. And so this gives you, if you combine the infrastructure automation with our private cloud stack, we give you a complete private cloud. But how do we create database as a service? So the top two layers of this diagram show you that our data platform takes both SQL Server and Oracle components, and we help automate the deployment and management of various objects within those databases. Now, you still can use your third-party management tools. We don't, or I'm sorry, the management tools of both of those platforms. We don't take that away. It's just we improve the deployment scenarios, so you spend less time optimizing those environments because we automate the optimization of them. And instead, you can go into your database servers, manage those objects the way you need to with your tools or your development platforms, or even your applications. And so we're enabling that ability through our data platform. So on top of that, Scalability Experts provides the insight into that platform with platform analytics, and we give you the automation for that data platform. Okay, so we're showing you how to combine all of your resources in such a way that you get the most optimal stack, and that stack is called Database as a Service. Now, you can't just go and implement this solution in your organization, even though we can get your basic appliance-like installation done within a certain period of time. We actually go through a process with our customers, and this is our Database as a Service maturity model. So we help look at how you're pooling your resources, what are the benefits of implementing some type of elasticity where we have high availability. We understand how to scale VMs or bare metal servers. We implement features like load balancing. So in the first two columns here, we look at what is that maturity model and how is it applied within your organization. Then we start moving customers very often from the first two columns into self-service and metering, because many of our organizations are not actually implementing much automation, or they're not implementing metering at all. Many customers have monitoring, but they're not actually metering, meaning measuring the total amount of resources available and then understanding what their consumption is. So we go through the customer, we help identify the gaps throughout this entire maturity model, and then we help you fill those gaps and implement your solution based on your custom environment. To do that, we initially have a Database as a Service foundational assessment, And then we will do a whole DBaaS implementation in your organization, whether or not we do the foundational assessment. So we can give you the assessment and help you build a roadmap, and then help you in different areas where you might need specific help, or we can go in and do the full implementation. It's managed through our project organization, and then we're able to go through and help your resources, and we can even provide strategic resources in your organization for a consistent build or growth of this platform. Some key use case scenarios that you might want to look at for database as a service is the ability to create a database. Maybe you have a new application or database that you need deployed. So these services can be deployed very quickly with database as a service. Okay. You may also have existing resources that you've created on the DBaaS platform, and you need to scale them. You need to grow them, or maybe you need to move a database from a simple tier 3 into a tier 1 application. Or maybe you need to do cloning for development resources. Okay, so maybe you have one type of environment that needs to be tested for benchmarking, or another environment that needs to be completely deployed. Maybe you have a pre-built solution that you want to add as a template and have that template automatically deployed within database as a service. So these are different scenarios that we can help you through with our solution. So let's go ahead and take a look at our demo. I just want to cover a couple of concepts here before we get into it. I'm going to show you some of what the tenant portal looks like. So you're just going to get a brief glimpse of a sample environment that we've put together. This environment is not our primary proof of concept that we provide for customers. Instead, it's more of a demo environment that is portable for us to be able to show customers the abilities that we have and help you envision what kind of solution you could have in your environment. In the demo, we're going to create a SQL database through our self-service portal. Then we're actually going to connect to that database directly from SQL Server Management Studio. And I'll even give you a quick sneak peek into our service design portal. Okay, service design portal is where you actually define and allocate the resources and plans that are available to different people within your organizations. All of this environment is role based, so you only see what you have access to. Okay, if you're a tenant. Now I'm going to switch over. Okay, so let's take a look at our management portal. We have we have the administrative portal and we have the tenant portal. First, I want you to take a look at what our end user scenario might look like. So if I have an account, this is my basic account. You might notice that it looks very similar to Windows Azure. That's because we have access to this platform, and we're able to help you customize it for your specific environment. This is not actually Windows Azure itself. This is just the graphical user interface that is available for us to customize for you. So you get the look and feel of something that already exists, and we help you deploy your infrastructure resources into our service management portal. Okay. So let's take a look at some of the subscriptions we have access to. Now, right now, I don't actually have a subscription. I'm not subscribed to any specific plan. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually add a subscription. So in this demo, I have 4 different environments that I can deploy. We have SQL Server 2008 R2, 2012 Service Pack 1, SQL 2014 Community Technology Preview, and we even have Oracle's 12c, which is now certified on Microsoft Hypervisor Stack. Okay, the one I'm going to work on today is SQL Server SP1, SQL Server 2012 Service Pack 1. So I'm going to subscribe to this plan. Okay, and right now I've given myself access to this specific plan. Now, as an administrator, I can actually create rules of who has access to this plan, what add-ons can they add. So it's great for me to talk about this right now. Not only can you subscribe to these different plans for resources within your organization, but you can associate specific types of add-ons. I haven't subscribed to any, but let me look at one of the add-ons I have. This particular demo gives me 2 add-ons for this subscription type. I have, I'm sorry, this one only has the flash storage, but I also have BPE, and I'm going to show you how to associate that when I go into the admin panel. So we're going to add flash storage to this SQL 2012 SP1 subscription. And what that does is when I add the add-on to my subscription, it converts specific databases that I select to utilize their database and their database and transaction log files to be on flash storage, which improves the performance of our database server tremendously. So here you can see that now if I'm in add-ons, I've actually subscribed myself to flash storage. And on this, once I add a database, it actually automatically utilizes this structure. If I add flash storage later on, it can actually migrate those databases onto flash storage for me, so I can get instant database enhancements, okay, instant performance enhancements. I can also, if I am the leader of a department or an application group, once I've subscribed to my plans, I can actually add additional administrators to be able to manage resources within this particular cloud. Okay, I'm not going to add anyone at this point. So now that I have my subscription, now I'm able to add SQL Server 2008 R2 or SQL Server 2012 SP1 resources into this specific tenant. So let's go ahead and add a database. I'm going to add a database. We're going to call it webinar. I'm sorry. This is the name for the webinar. In this case, I only have one edition of SQL Server enabled, but if I had multiple editions, I could actually select which one I want, and that might help dictate what license. This is going to help dictate what licenses each database resource I have is utilized from. I can also have groups of database servers, and I can choose which group I want my subscription to use. So I might have a clustered environment, which might be my gold. I might have just individual SQL database servers. That might be my bronze. And then I may have something that's more fancy that includes some kind of synchronous replication with availability groups. That might be my platinum solution. And that synchronous replication might be occurring between data centers. Okay, so that's how we can apply SLAs within our database as a service. So let's go ahead and create this this database. I'm going to create my own custom credentials. So what this does is it actually creates a SQL user that then gets immediate credentials to the database that I've created. So in this case, I'm going to create another one. I'm going to call it webinar, and I'm going to apply my password. Now this password, of course, must meet the database, the complexity rules that we've set within our organization, so it helps us meet compliance. So here we see I have this SQL Server database that I've created on an existing server. I have a specific maximum size that I set for the plan. However, this can be customizable, and I can even modify this program on the front here to be able to select different sizes, select our collation, possibly select different plans as well if I wanted to do it through the form. So we're very flexible in how we can create this for you and automate this process. Now, once we create our database, we have to think about, well, how am I going to actually connect to it, right? So once we verify, down here we click this little button, it tells us that our database was successfully created, and we say, okay. Now I can view information about this database, and it tells me what is the user that I created, what is the server name that this database is on, and what is the actual connection string that I should use for my application servers or my third-party application, any of them that I need to use. I can use this connection string plug it into that application, and it'll automatically connect to my database. Now, we might need to do network modifications depending on what our infrastructure looks like. We might need to automate the connectivity between different subnets or things like that. These are all of these network connections can be automated, as well as the deployment of the VM, the virtual machine. We can deploy the database server on, we can deploy the database instance on that virtual machine, and we can deploy databases on that database instance. So we can get very, very granular, very deep into those environments. We also have the ability to expose feedback about suggested indexes. We have also the capability to create those indexes or test those indexes and do a rollback if necessary. So these are different features that we've built within our POC environment that we show you, and we can build that on-premise for you. Here I can change the password of accessing that database, or I can even resize it here by selecting a different size. Now, I have a maximum available, so this subscription only allows me to create 50, but I can increase this to 1 gigabyte if I want. We do that to be able to control the size. Okay, so let's actually connect to this database. So I'm connected here as an SA, but what I'm going to do is just close SQL Server Management Studio. I'm going to open it again, and now it's going to ask me, well, how am I going to connect to this server? So now I know what server I need to connect to. And now I know what my login is. So my login here is webinar03. And now I can put in my password. And so it automatically shows me an RBAC, or role-based access control-based SQL Server environment, where I'm only able to see the resources that I have access to. So you can see here that this is the brand new database that we created. There's no tables, but you can see the security. We have some logins. Both SA and the user webinar03 have been created. This is now a database environment that I can manage. Okay, I'll just show you real quick. I'll create a quick table. That's it. I'm just going to create one column. Okay, we're going to save it. I'm going to call it table 1. And now here we have table 1. Okay, so this is a fully accessible database provision through our database as a service solution. So let's go look at quickly how we can manage doing the plans, managing add-ons. Maybe I want to, this is SQL 2012 SP1, but if I was in SQL Server 2014, we could use buffer pool extensions. Let me show you one of the add-ons that we can build within this environment. So this is our management portal. This is the vanilla management portal. It doesn't include all of the different components that we now have, all the different services that we now expose through the service management portal. Let me show you the user. This was the user we logged in as on the tenant portal. So this particular user has this subscription. They don't have any additional storage utilized. They have one database. It shows that there are no co-administrators, so we can manage all this stuff from the back end. And it shows us that we've subscribed to the flash storage add-on. Then we can go ahead and take a look at the plan. If we have this plan, the SQL Server 2012 SP1, it talks about what servers do we actually have and what add-ons are available. So I can actually link an additional add-on. Let's say, in this one I don't have actually BPE, but I could add an additional add-on with this one. I also have my plan services. This is how many databases that user is allowed to create. What is the size of each database and the maximum size? Maybe I want this to be a little bit larger. I could change the additional size if I wanted up to maybe 500. If we have add-ons acquired, we might be able to do some additional database sizes. So these are all ways that we can add features, but then also get chargeback about how those features are utilized. And if we need to, we can resolve maybe the abuse of flash storage, or we could improve our networking throughput, or our IOPS even, which is would be a major improvement in environments. So here I can save this. So all of these features are customizable. So I can define what is the add-on, what is the service, what are the maximums and minimums I need in each of these configurations, whether I'm the tenant requesting them or if I'm the administrator defining them. So you can see the subscriptions that are associated with this SQL SP1. You can actually go and configure some additional components. I can actually add more configuration components in here, and I can even implement things like language and have some XML exports that I can use for doing either chargeback, or I could even send that XML to our invoicing and have a different department or a tenant or a user invoiced for utilizing those resources. Okay, so we also have SQL servers. I can add a SQL server, or I can also have a group of servers, and that's how. And then we have a algorithm for determining where a database is applied when you create a new database within our database as a service. So that way you get equal distribution, or you can have a weighted distribution as well. Okay. Here we have these different plans. I wanted to show you that we can also change access to who can manage this plan. I can decommission the plan so that we can have no more users, or I could even make it private so only administrators can access this. Okay, I can even clone the plan, and then I can upgrade the base servers and change the SQL Server groups that the plan is actually utilizing. So if I do a service pack update or something like that, I can just clone it, redirect the group of which the database server, which this plan is, I can redirect the database servers that this plan is applying resources to, and that's how fast I can actually expose a resource into our organization. Okay. You might see that I have Oracle here. Right now we're deploying Oracle VMs, and we're actually able to connect into the VM once it's deployed and actually deploy deploy databases as well. So that's a really nice feature that we're helping customers understand, that not only is Hyper-V designed for the Microsoft stack, but it's also a heterogeneous environment as well, and runs a number of certified Linux environments that are very common in the industry. Okay, I'm going to flip back now to my presentation. Okay, so now let's take a look at how we apply chargeback, because now that we have this type of metering and automation in place where we can help you bring your best practices in your environment into an automated platform, we also want to let you know that this system is designed based on an API, which means you can interface with this platform between other software. And so we can query back and forth between our platform and another platform. And so what we've done is we've actually combined this solution with our other Chargeback Engine. Okay. Now Chargeback is actually essentially e-business for virtual public and private clouds. So we've taken a Chargeback Engine, we're applying it to database as a service, and we're enabling our customers to either prepare for chargeback by using what is called showback, or to actually implement an order and invoicing and payment system. Okay, even if they don't want to utilize our payment system, we can implement the billing component, or we can just use reporting. Our chargeback environment is actually globally localized. We have, I think, 12 different languages right now, major languages throughout the world. So if you are a multinational organization, you can implement this chargeback, and we can apply localization to our DBaaS management platform as well. So you can expose the billing portal as well as the management portal in the language of your choice throughout the world. We also have the ability to manage contracts so that if you want to give resources for a certain period of time, those resources can then be pulled back once that contract is expired, or and it even will notify your customer or the tenant when that resource is about to expire. Okay. Everything here is built on the Microsoft solution stack. It's built on Microsoft SQL Server, Active Directory, .NET, and ASP through IIS, Internet Information Services 7.5, and we're moving towards 8 as well. So this solution, just like our database as a service management solution, is API based. So that's how our Chargeback Engine communicates with our database management platform. So those are APIs, but we also interface with other cloud vendors to help manage those resources as well. Okay, so we are the gear in the center of all of your different cloud resources, and we help you manage the allocation and access to those different cloud components. Here's just a quick example of how we are able to implement our Chargeback Engine, and there's different ways we can do it. On the left side, you see that we can export CSV so that you can import this into your own billing software. You can understand what is purchased from specific customers, whether it's bare metal, VM, database oriented, storage oriented, even throughput consumption. So we can measure all those at an interval. We can invoice the customer based on consumption. We can meter based on minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, even years. So we can do metering and or charging based on different time intervals based on how you want your resources to be allocated to the organization. We are multi-layered, meaning you can have a tenant that can have their own tenants, and they can actually put their own logo or put their own departmental information on their portal page. Okay, so it's very, very granular how this can be designed for your organization. And again, it's heterogeneous, meaning you can manage multiple cloud environments. So we've come to the end of my part of the webinar, and now I'm going to hand it over to John Mitbo, and he's going to talk to you more on some other subjects here.
Thank you, Chris. I want to thank you guys again for attending today's webinar. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about your options for learning more about our data center automation offering and how you can start taking a look at taking yourself from your current environment all the way to a fully automated solution. The first is that, as we said earlier, we do have a virtual POC environment. If you have an interest in taking a look at this, we can set up a one-to-one meeting where you will have the opportunity to play around in the environment and really get a good look and feel for how it works and decide, is this the goal environment that you're really after? We can also offer free phone consultations where we can discuss your environment, your challenges. We can discuss the database as a service solution in more detail and answer any questions you have. We can discuss the assessment and implementation process. Also, I wanted to let you know that if you're looking at this, we understand it's a significant project, but as a strong partner with Microsoft and our hardware vendors, we have access to significant amounts of funding that can help take a little bit of the sticker shock out of implementing a solution like this. For example, we have funding available to us that can help you migrate from VMware to Hyper-V, and so that you will not have to pay the VMware tax for those licenses. We can help you with upgrading to SQL Server 2012 or migrating to SQL Server 2012. We can help consolidate and virtualize your environment. We can help with the actual cloud implementation. We can also use hardware funding and deployment planning service days if you have those under your EA agreement. So if you have an interest, contact us today at info@Scalability Experts, and we can take you through this whole process. And now let me take a second to give a plug for some upcoming in-person events that we're holding. These are on a slightly different topic. They're on the topic of big data, parallel data warehouse appliance, and data center automation. So it's a great opportunity to get some free training, insight, and start your planning processes around big data and PDW. And it's also a way to learn a little bit more about our database as a service solution and what that means. We do have these coming up to several major cities. Coming up next week in St. Louis, Missouri, we have an event. These are half-day events. Then the following week we'll be in Dallas, Texas. The week after that we will be in New York and Boston. And then a couple weeks after that we will be in Irvine, California, and immediately followed up with an event in San Francisco. So I will send out the invitations for these events to everyone who attended. We hope you can join. So if you can, please register. We'd love to meet you in person. All right, and thank you everyone for this webinar. If you have questions, please send them to me at info@scalabilityexperts.com.